Welcome back, everybody, to the Analyst Desk. After a very dominant victory by No Oregon game number 2, we have another game 3 on the Academy channel here with Veteran and Incon to break things down. We got a lot of cool things to talk about in that game as No Org came back to life to even the series up. Incon, I know we have one play right here that really breaks down how this game was won.
Yeah, probably the best mechanical decision made the entire game is, where Gryffinn decides to just hover a champion and then lock it in, which we'll have a replay of soon in a little bit. But realistically, Taco Gaming, they early pick the Draven, which is fine. They get a good support pick into it, but it's like they just don't have a way to kill the beefy frontline that you'll get with the Udyr Tahm Kench because you end up locking in a Sejuani and Lissandra. So they run into the same issue that No Org actually had game 1. So it's like the bait of this game right now is just the Lissandra, and like whoever picks it is losing. 0-2, if you pick it game 3, you're gonna lose. It's just the way the game works.
Yeah,
Pre-durability changes, I definitely would have given this to Team on the right, but post-durability changes, there are just too many ways for Yone, for Udyr, for Akali to actually make it through the Sejuani, through the Zilean, through the Lissandra. They don't care as much as they previously would, so it's just a significant threat on the lefter.
It seems like a trend that we've been following throughout the day here on Academy Veteran, where the team that picks champions that like to really fight heavy 5v5 and have a lot of really burst oriented ultimates at the beginning tend to fall behind and tend to fall short to the teams that like Large in game number 2 with the Senna Soraka, and like No Org here with this Udyr here for Gryffinn, to just kind of outscale and outtime a lot of the early bursts that the other team can provide.
For sure. I mean, this is no longer a one-shot o'clock game, and Akali and Yone, despite the fact their reputations obviously for Akali is going to be as an assassin, they can play the long extended fights. Conquer Akali's been a thing for a while, and Yone with the new Sunfire Blade of the Ruined King build is almost unkillable, given that you can't just one-shot anyone straight up. Draven, Zilean, Lissandra, at a time, they would insta-tap somebody to start the fight, go into a 5v4 for the rest of it, but they can't do that anymore, and yeah, Udyr is the big daddy there when it comes to abusing this kind of sustained meta.
Yeah, let's take a look at this right here. Incon, just break down exactly what happens here on the screen. Go for it.
Yeah, so really complex gameplay here. What ends up happening is Gryffinn is actually sitting there and he goes, wait, Jesus Incarnate is just up on my screen. I can just lock in the champion. They sit there and talk about it for like 20 seconds, and eventually just Shen Yi's the draft and locks it in. And what's the beautiful part about this is the other 9 champions actually don't matter inside of the game, because you just have the absolute best champion on your team. You could literally have 9 Yumis and no one can do anything. That champion is just God. It's actually incredible, and it was done so mechanically well that it just can't be rivaled. It was literally just a thing of beauty. Chef's kiss.
I don't know if I want to be spreading any rumors about the nature of how the champion was locked in, but do agree with you that the Udyr was very strong there in that game. And Veteran, it goes back to what we saw what we saw about No Org, in Splits Past, which is playing really well around the lanes and then team fighting really well, especially with Gryffinn on this Udyr.
For sure, yeah. I mean, you'll see that in the first replay that we have as well. They played very heavily around their midsection, which was good. Fire, he's not on a utility champion this time. He's not playing for his jungle. He's like, no, we're going to play heavily for me. On priority back on bot, immediately support comes in. And look, no one is getting immediately clapped here. Gets close on the Tahm, gets somewhat close on the Yone, but not really. Udyr's now here as well, being dragged down. Look how long these fights are lasting. Sustained fighters like the Asura, like the Yone, and like obviously in this game, the Udyr, they're going to be king here. This wasn't even a completely clean midsection collapse, but it doesn't have to be. You just have to be able to buy time, and that's very easy to do. We're going to see a lot more scrappy games at every level of play, and these are going to be the benefits of it. Picking these scrappy champions is going to work out odds on. They do this play again 3 more times in that game. It gives them a significant lead before they finally, after 7 Drakes, contest a Drake for once.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, it seems like we talk about the durability update at the beginning of the split, and we kind of have maybe almost forgotten about it, so to speak. But all the changes that were so monumental just a couple of months ago are still there, and it's still those champions that are ending up on top. But it did seem like Taco Gaming still had, that potential to get back into this game. They had the big execute on Gorica, but Incon, as we take a look at this Dragon fight at around 17 minutes, this just seems like the point where things really start to get out of hand for them.
Yeah, this is where the game gets really difficult because no org has complete setup on the Dragon. If you take stock of summoner spells, your Viego doesn't have Smite, your Lissandra has no Flash, neither does Draven Zillion. And then what ends up happening is Lawrence just baits the entire team in by trying to go in here. And Viper goes in, buys the space, they get the Dragon, and then the fight is turned because they're now trying to run away from, Thanos, as we talked about. But also the Akali and the Yone, who can close the gap so much faster than your champions can run away. So not only does the enemy team get the Dragon, they get a clean ace other than losing Akali. So it's 5 for 1, and then what ends up happening is at 19 minutes, a very similar fight ends up happening. The big scrappy fight, you're able to sustain the damage because you're now 2k gold ahead as a result there, and then the rest is history because you just don't have a way to slice through that front line, and then you're just kind of stuck there bashing your head against a wall, praying that something happens magically.
Yeah. And as we take a look at, the preview of getting into the final game of the day here on Academy Veteran, Taco Gaming opting again to stay on the red side of, of the draft. So it seems like we're going to get the same sides all 3 games of this series. What kind of adjustments does Taco have to make it look more like game 1 and less like game 2?
I mean, we've talked a lot about the EU there. For me, I think it's going to come down to Young priority. I mean, he was very instrumental in Taco's win, as well as being very instrumental in No Orcs win. I think you either have to secure that for yourself, or if you're going to give away the Udyr, trade that for this champ. You could maybe not see either of these banned, just so they can go for a trade. Giving both over, that's a recipe for disaster, as they know right now. These are the big daddies until we figure out hard counters to them, but I can't really think of one myself right now. I don't think they're going to think of one in the next couple of minutes. I think you just got to accept the trade, make sure they don't get both.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Yone Lily would be beautiful. Double flex, we can see what happens there. If you're on red side and you get it, you give the Udyr, it's a good opening. Yeah. And then you have 2 really beautiful picks there, but again, just depends on what these teams deem the issue and what they value. But I think Veteran's correct, that Yone has been a very vocal point, even if it seems relatively quiet.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Qualifier have a great game on it. Of course, Shochi with that incredible pop-up performance in game number 1. We'll see what the priority lies with these 2 champions. I'm going to keep that in my mind as we toss things over to Rudude to get things ready for the final draft of the day. Rude, these are 2 champions here. It's the Yone and the Udyr that mattered so much in that game number 2. And now, Taco Gaming have a choice of what they want to do this time around.
So insanely bonkers, and if you're not going to play something like the Vayne, something that is just hard committed to taking down tanks, then you kind of have to give it the respect that it deserves, and I would like to see that certainly placed the priority on. And also, I've just been completely converted. Right, start of the day, I say, what does this Yone build do? Okay, it works with Senna Soraka. Oh, it works when you've got decent sustain to try and help it build out, get fleshed out. Turns out it just works anyway. You don't need sustain. It's just top tier. You know what? League of Legends is all about learning as well at some point. So hold my hands up to that. Happy to see this build though, and Yone, like we've mentioned, certainly a pick that I expect to see fairly highly contested.
Yeah, it's a really fun champion just to watch as well, and we've seen players with like really high ability just pilot the champion with such proficiency. Of course, Shochi. That's a champion that he's been known for. The assassins, the heavy melee 1v1 lane diff in the mid lane kind of picks, and for Qualifier, of course, this is a guy that can really play anything at this point. So I think this mid lane matchup is really, really fun to watch. We've seen both sides of the Yon Lissandra matchup go towards the Yon's way. I'm expecting some slight switch up, and honestly, I hope both of them lock in carries, because at the level that both of these players have been playing so far in this series, like that's exactly what I want to see.
Yeah, let's spin off this Lissandra counter pick. Let's say, okay, let's pick something that can go toe to toe. Let's have an Aurelia. Let's have a Yasuo. Let's see them clash in that mid lane. Let them fully unleash. Let's coin flip level 1 mid lane and decide the entire game off of it. That seems like the good way to go.
Let's go. Let's get the Yasuo versus Yon matchup. That's what we want. As the storylines would be great there, of course. But I mean, when you talk about the importance of this matchup, of course, neither team is eliminated by dropping this game number 3. but it definitely opens up, both confidence in terms of going into the rest of the tournament, and also just a little bit of extra flexibility, because the winner of this plays against 100 Thieves next. I think either of these teams can play a competitive series against them, and then after that, the loser, now has a tougher road to climb, and then even if they do end up beating Large down in the lower bracket, they'll have to play presumably each other once again, which just in terms of mental strength definitely favors the winner here.
Yeah, if you've had that head-to-head over a team that you've previously played, you're obviously going to be feeling fairly confident about it. And to touch quickly on your point, right, the winner here goes off to play against 100 Thieves next. We've already seen Taco Gaming do and pull off a very competitive series up against 100 Thieves next, like I mentioned. In last qualifier, they took them to 3 games in the best of 3 knockout stage game. So there is obviously that fairly well-reasoned argument that they could beat 100 Thieves next and first find their way out of group after just 2 games. So moving into game number 3 now for this draft, we are seeing largely the same things. No Org here went for the Kindred. They're going to go for that Karthus once again, and we have to see whether or not they're going to do something a little bit different. We know that they are quite happy to drop the Draven ban, which they had in game number 1, so that they could take the Udyr for 1, and they didn't really have an answer here. Taco Gaming, that Draven certainly wasn't it, but I expect that Udyr to be taken away alongside probably this Wukong.
Oh, we have again, it's the Udyr and the Yone. Those are the 2 champions. Maybe you go for the 1-for-1 trade. You pick one, lock in the other on the side of Taco Gaming. But right now, still the jungler focus towards City Witty. City Witty, of course, didn't have the best game on the Viego in game number 1. Looked much better on that Karthus, and also, of course, on the Kindred champions that he is super proficient on. There's still a lot of questions to be answered. That Senna takeaway means that we're going to have at least one of those 2 champions that Veteran kept alluding to up and unavailable for the taking.
Yeah, and I don't think that Yone is necessarily a B1 champion that teams are too comfortable with going for necessarily, where Udyr certainly is. So no surprise that Taco Gaming take away the Udyr, and we'll have to see whether No Org have that insane priority on that Yone, or whether it's going to be something a little bit different. We saw something like the Volibear come through in the last series, where we got a lot of control around that jungle. So would not be any surprise to see jungler get locked in first. It is going to be that pick this time round. Gryffinn, again, high early game agency jungler. Let's see what you can try and do with it this time round.
Yeah, going for a bit of a different playstyle, much more gank oriented for sure on this Volibear, and again, maybe more Anda-esque than Gryffinn-esque even. When you talk about how Noorg liked to play last year, a champion that, like this Volibear, is really good at getting in and helping out your lanes early on. But City Witty just locked in Graves Rooted, and this is a champion that he is very confident on, very skilled on, and I'm expecting to put up huge numbers in both the damage and just the kill count in general.
Yeah, something we've not really touched on is the fact that there has been a Kindred ban every single game, and this is obviously focused at City Witty. Him and the Marksman junglers really do tend to go hand in hand, and whenever we see a Volibear locked in, we do see City Witty defaults to this Graves as an answer. Now, Gorica was not dissuaded by that love or by that game 2 pick, takes the Draven anyway, and of course we did get to see some of the issues of that tank shred that we didn't necessarily have from Taco Gaming, but I'd like to see if they return to those issues, address them slightly better in this drafting phase time around. Obviously, No Org taking a very different approach to this game. Ezreal Karma down in the bot lane for Wixie and Big T, a very punishing 2 versus 2 that doesn't necessarily punish in the same way that you may imagine. They like to try and outrange, and this is a really good way at preventing that from happening. If you have the Nautilus hook, whenever you fire a skill shot at this bot lane 2v2, you better be behind some minions, because that dredge line is coming for you. Yeah,
now it looks like the roles have kind of swapped between these 2 supports. Throughout the series, Big has been playing a lot of the heavy engagers, or a lot of the beefy melee champions, and Rovex was on the Enchantress for the first 2 games. And so now we'll see what they are looking like in different positions. Of course, we typically discuss both of them as being, pretty well-rounded supports, so seeing them adjust is not super surprising, to say the least. But we do have the bot lanes focused out, definitely expecting really heavy kill pressure to be generated by Taco Gaming with this Draven Nautilus lane.
Another question is, do we just see another Yone Lissandra trade, right? And I think both mid laners have won out in the both mid laners have won out in the Yone side of that matchup, so would not be surprised to see Taco Gaming take that for themselves. Of course, their composition right now not particularly magic damage flush necessarily. They are still looking for that AP damage to come through, and the Yone is definitely not that bag.
Yeah, that's kind of the only thing I'm seeing there that might not result in that Yone getting locked in instantly for Chochi here. Instead, we're going to potentially see a bit of a different, heavy, high damage auto attacker in the Corki coming through. Not necessarily a marksman Yone is, but you know, still similar point. A lot of heavy damage this time, getting the AP in onto Shochi.
We're going to match poke with poke here. I like this from NoOrg, right? They're going to be trying to play outside the range of Nautilus, outside the range of pretty much everybody on Taco Gaming. Of course, Corki not necessarily too easy to outrange, but with Zoe Bubble, with the engagement as well that you can come through with this Gnar that has now been locked in for Viper as a blind in the top lane. I really do enjoy this pick. I want to see if Taco Gaming go for a bit of a flex pick here, if they go for a big front line, or if they want to try and take this Graves into that top side, open themselves up for some magic damage jungle. That is not going to be the case, it looks like. Both of these compositions, they look like they function fairly differently, but ultimately they've just got front line and then a lot of back lane long range damage. Consistent DPS comes in many different sources here, I suppose. We've obviously got Corki who's going to be doing chips damage that can be fairly impactful. Zoe is going to be largely resulting around that bubble, and if it's the correct target, you don't necessarily need to be able to see your champion to be able to kill the enemy champion with True Shot, Barrage, Mantra Q. Along with that paddle star coming from downtown, NoOrg do have a lot of long-range tools to get themselves those kills.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the way that Taco Gaming's composition is set up. A lot of frontline here with Robux and Lawrence, and you have early playmaking as well as really heavy scaling in like the triple marksman composition that you have here. But Rooted, I gotta remind you, this is Qualifier on the Zoe. If in case you guys aren't familiar with Qualifier on the Zoe, it is very, very good. I believe the most played champion of Qualifier's career, 20-4 in terms of record right now on this champion. So very, very proficient at it, to say the least, and has a pretty good opportunity to just lay in tons and tons of poke with the NoOrg team that they have unlocked.
Certainly not a bad stat at all, really. 5 out of 6 games being won, certainly something that you'll be very happy with. As Qualifier is going to be looking to obviously extend that percentage in a more positive way. Up against Shochi, who honestly has been one of the standout players for Taco Gaming, even in that loss. I think Sandra was doing everything it was supposed to. Obviously, in the win, the Yone, we saw him turn around essentially 2v4. Shochi has been really impressing me. I want to sing his praises a little bit as we head on into the game. That was pretty much that. I'll be curious, and this, is going to interest absolutely nobody else, but more so in what Lawrence can do as this Malphite as well. Being that tank in the front line last time round, he didn't necessarily do too much on the Sejuani, but on this Malphite, he's going to have a lot more high impact engagements necessarily.
Yeah, we'll see. I think a lot of explosive team fights are definitely on the horizon here for this game, and it's the decider between NoOrg and Taco Gaming, two teams that are both vying for top 4 finishes or even higher as we head into the second Proving Ground Circuit qualifier. We have, unfortunately, again, just some slight issues with getting the players in game, so before we head on to the Rift, going to send it over to a short break. We'll be right back with Game 3 action after this. Welcome back, everybody. It is game number 3 between NoOrg and Taco Gaming. Once again, I'm Grapes Rooted. I know it's pretty late in the evening here over on the UK, but I know we're both all up and ready for this game because it's about to be exciting.
It is indeed. We start at 3:40 AM over here in the UK. Shout out to Veteran as well for joining me on the UK stream schedule. But of course, Taco Gaming versus NoOrg 1-1 so far in this series. Stakes, of course, going into the upper bracket of their group. A game up against 100 Thieves awaits the winner of this matchups in particular. And you brought up some great stats coming into this game, Grapes. 5Fire, 20-4 all-time competitive career on the Zoe. This is a pick that he is very comfortable on, very proficient with, and should be feared by Shochi in the mid lane.
Of course, Shochi no slouch in the mid lane himself, as we have seen both last split, this tournament, this game, everything like that. You see Taco Gaming again with a little bit of a spicy level 1. This happened in game number 1 as well. See Citywitty go for a potential invade onto the red buff. But I'm not sure if 5Fire spotted it out. It might have been noticed there that the red buff was kind of under fire. We'll see what Gryffinn decides to do in return.
It may have just been like the smallest little clip, but either way, Big T and Wixie are going to spot this, and it's just going to be a quick little bit of poke onto Rovex. That all-in going to be slightly harder to come by now if they go for it, but this is very scary. They can just walk straight for the hook, don't end up connecting on it, and now that all-in potential slightly more mitigated. The nature, of course, of enchanters versus these tanky supports is if Rovex can find that all-in, they're going to likely head all for it. But Ezreal Karma is a 2v2, very poke-oriented, very punishing, never really wants to be in range to do too much.
Seeing Citywitty 2 camp straight into the mid lane. 5Fire has the push, but it's not going to matter too much. He's going to back away, but actually, crucially, this does show that Citywitty is going to be trying to fight for his topside camps, trying to secure that 3 buff. Won't hit level 3 off of this Raptor clear, I believe. So Gryffinn still has a pretty good opportunity to try and get some stuff back.
Just walking in front of the pellets.
Just the
face, doesn't care.
Face tanking it right now. But yeah, this is a little 2v2 unfolding here. Priority is towards Viper up in the top lane. Don't know how much of an impact this is going to have here. Citywitty is level 2 as well, so this is going to get interesting here, Reed.
This is the biggest game of chicken I've ever seen. This is putting both junglers so far behind. It would be much better if they both just farmed their camps and got on with their day. But ultimately, somebody's going to come out of this ahead. One's going to come out behind.
Gryffinn got the smite. So, slight victory there for NoOrg.
Well.
Autos are coming through. Shochi is available here with that level 3, trying to close the gap with the Valkyrie, but here comes Rovex at level 2 as well. Has the flash to maybe lock down 5Fire. The Sleeping Trouble Bubble will land in onto Shochi. Doesn't look like Rovex wants to get in too deep onto himself, so it will just be the Rift Scuttle secured on the top side of the map for Citywitty, and all that sort of song and dance for not too much of an advantage for either team.
Gryffinn ultimately walks in, smites away a Raptor camp, says job done, and then carries on with his day. It is likely going to be that free buff, though. Worth mentioning, of course, Citywitty going to take a fair while before he can collect all 3 of those buffs, where Gryffinn has already gone back to base, found that first reset. Rovex still mid lane.
Oh, yeah. Biggest here as well, though. It will be a 3v2 in favor of Taco Gaming. What can Rovex do to engage? Will land the dredge line in onto Big. Still has that flash available, but here comes Gryffinn in with the stun. Rovex need to go down. That's first blood onto 5Fire Zoe. Citywitty now has to run for the hills as the shots will continue to rain in. Big play coming out from NoOrg. Despite the invade from Taco, Gryffinn is the one with the first play.
Oh, level 2 Nautilus. Not necessarily the biggest tank, unfortunately. Aftershock falls down, and NoOrg burst the anchor man to the depths himself. So as soon as that wears off, they just all pile in, press the attack. Early game volley bear. Don't really need to say too much more about it. 5Fire gets first blood on one of his patented champions at this point through his competitive career. Really great stuff to see that we're getting him to find these kills, to find that success, set himself up for a great game out of that mid lane, and the team as well playing toward it. Zoe, certainly a champion that demands a little bit of respect, and given those junglers, they could be trying to find something as well.
Looks like the action's not going to stop. This bot lane Rift Scuttler still hasn't been taken up by either team. And now Rovex going to try to do some damage in onto Gryffinn. Citywitty a little bit slow to the play, and it looks like it's just will be Taco Gaming securing that double Scuttle Crab. So overall, still a positive play in terms of the jungle camp secured by City. But right now the gold in favor of NoOrg, off of just that first blood.
So you remember when Gryffinn walked in and smited that Raptor camp?
Right.
He did that, took his blue buff. Since then, has not farmed anything since. There's simply been a moving around the map and trying to help out his team.
Oh, you're gonna try again. Round
He
2?
needs to farm his own jungle. I will farm the enemy's jungle. These Raptors are his.
Oh man, we're seeing some really aggressive play from both of these teams.
What is
Shochi and
going
Rovex
on?
are very low. The hook's gonna land in onto Big. Rovex with a really nice hook, but now the sleep is gonna land in onto Shochi. One more auto from Gryffinn will secure the first kill of the fight, but now Gryffinn maybe not in the best spot. 5Fire not able to land that paddle star in. Rovex does not have enough mana, and somehow Nor get out with just that one kill going over with the health bar so low on every single one of their members.
I am so confused as to how these guys are getting away with it. What is going on to think, yeah, this looks like the play. You know, we've got Big T stat 150 HP, and it is just credit to them knowing their limits. I want to emphasize these are not bad plays they're going for. These are just limits that they're pushing to the absolute maximum, making sure that they can get the most out of their champions, the most out of all their resources that are available. And ultimately, Noorg once again coming away on top, finding the advantage in the skirmish, setting themselves up once again to start snowballing. Another kill and assist combo between the mid and jungle. Now Rovex behind enemy lines, still level 3.
Man.
Up against 5Fire's level 6.
Yeah, I mean, he's the fisherman, right? You could hear the Jaws music kind of continue to play. Bum, 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 bum. Sleep's going to land on the Shochi. Here comes another hook. Rovex from the backside will take down 5Fire alongside Shochi. Now Big, without that flash, is not in a great spot to get away. Going to try to use that inner flame to get a little bit of distance, and it looks like Big will survive for now. But the first kill of the game for Taco Gaming is into the hands of their mid laner. Yeah, and exactly where you want it to be is your Taco Gaming going later and later into this game. Certainly a fairly scary presence for TG in the later stages of this matchup, and those single rockets can really do a lot of work. Gorica is level 6, almost gets taken down by Wixie here, actually. Yeah. And here comes Big as well. Did not end up
dying.
falling, and that means he's in a really good position to try to go for this dive under the turret. The cleanse and the flash away from Gorica. Big's going to have to do this mostly on his own, and will be able to do so with the Mantra Q. Citywitty trying to maybe pick some stuff up, get some scraps, but in comes Gryffinn with the jump scare. There he goes with the Sky Splitter, picking up another kill for himself. It will be Rovex securing one back onto Big, but Wixie and Gryffinn are very strong, and they do a lot of damage. They're diving the tower, and Gryffinn with another kill, 3-0 and 1.
Uno mas, they do not care. I mean, okay,
oh,
Lawrence.
Man, actually doesn't stop. Viper going for a really aggressive play in onto Lawrence. He's going to follow the flash. A couple more autos might seal the deal, but Viper has too much regeneration at this point. Lawrence not going to be able to pick up that solo kill. And now the side of Taco Gaming has to be a bit careful. In comes 5Fire, going to land in the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and that's the kill. Funneled straight into the Zoe.
Oh, wow, and he's had a torrid time of things up in this top lane as well, Lawrence. Viper has been absolutely manhandling him. That CS department, and you can see almost doubling the lead right now that Viper has. And a crucial roam by 5Fire once again. Saves his top laner a little bit. Also just bails out and gets an extra kill as well. Shout out Big for not having the most gold and not making that nice clean graphic for Noorg, but this is a brutal start to this game for Taco Gaming. Noorg certainly claiming victims left, right, and indeed center.
Yeah, you know it's bad when the support on the winning team has more gold than more than half the members on the opposition. That's when you know that the game might be starting to get a little bit out of hand, which is surprising for Taco Gaming because the early plays by Citywitty, the proactivity to get sort of that econ advantage in the jungle was really well thought out and was executed rather efficiently. It's just Gryffinn has been better at getting across the map, doing what his champion does best, and helping his laners really start to get ahead.
And something that we made a big song and dance about, or at least I did, in game number 2, was the Draven stacks and the first caching, that first kill that goes either way. Now, unfortunately, Gorica got taken out, and it means that, for the most part, his early game is largely sort of finished now. Getting taken down, doesn't cash in on his initial opening. All of those stacks that you build up from the laning phase. Building up stacks outside of that just becomes so much harder. You just don't get up to those high numbers. The first cash in always going to be the most important one. And unfortunately, he's going to have a slight execute on his ulti, but it's going to be nowhere near as impactful as you may have seen from game number 2. But if he can get some gold in the Draven's back pocket, there's no doubt, no question that this guy can still be a threat as the game progresses.
Yeah, not necessarily the same level of front line that Gorka will have to try to melt through this time around. Of course, Gryffinn's still going to be rather tanky, but offering more of a utility role and maybe giving Gorka some more access to some of the squishier members on the opposition. But we'll see how much they can try to make use of this early game right now. Rovex's hook does go wide. Citybuddy waiting in the area, does have the Dragon to maybe try and start up if there's no successful gank to be had. Meanwhile, Gryffinn in the mid lane has that Eye of the Herald, might try to pop it, get a little bit extra pressure around this objective before it spawns.
Yeah, and worth mentioning as well, Shochi has got that package, so the sort of impending win team fight button available.
Oh man, fight's already beginning, and Taco Gaming is just getting collapsed upon. The Paddle Star goes wide, but it's not going to matter all too much. Forovex is going to flash away, but it does not matter. But here comes the package. Shochi is going to try to turn this fight 1v4. He gets 2, and Qualifier is about to go down, but he does not have enough damage to take down the Zoe. Another team fight win here for No Org. Dragon maybe not going to be taken just yet, but you can start to see the advantage continuing to grow.
Yeah, Qualifier and the rest of No Org just faster to the play, more gold in their back pockets, and they take the fight convincingly. Citybuddy unable to really sustain himself here in this fight, and a big Stormbringer from Gryffinn slams down onto the bot lane of Taco Gaming, takes them down handily. Package maybe you think can try and turn this fight, but the exhaust to begin it all is actually very important from Qualifier. Means that the initial burst damage doesn't just completely one-shot the 2 people that get taken down in the end, and means a couple more cooldowns have to be expended. Allows Qualifier to just barely survive that engagement and continue to have that gold lead, continue to have that gold bounty over his head. When it is worth mentioning, Shochi surprisingly here very up in CS in the mid lane.
Yeah, and also has the 3 kills on the Corki. So we're talking about how the scaling and how the poke works well for Taco Gaming. Gonna have to wait a while until it gets there, but right now Qualifier showing that the CS deficit doesn't mean a whole lot, as he's still able to get a pretty advantageous trade for himself. The Dragon is still up and available for both of these teams to take, and you see City and Gryffinn both hovering around the area looking for a fight.
Of course they are.
That's what they do.
Junglers are, both these junglers are very, very aggressive styles. Bubble hit.
Might be No Org that gets the better hand here. Shochi getting chunked out by a massive bubble. Citybuddy forced to use a collateral damage to try and escape, but Wixie says no thank you with that Mystic shot. Another kill going into the hands of No Org against Taco Gaming's jungler. They just continue to stack the kills up, get the gold flowing.
Should be that Dragon going down as well. Looks like it's in fact going to be a Herald for the mid lane turret, which I actually like even more. Breaking up in that mid tier 1, getting rid of the Corki's bastion of safety in the mid lane is exactly what you'd love to see, making sure that he's going to be a little bit more fearful for the time that he spends trying to farm those creeps. Look at the damage coming through from Wixie already. Trinity Force completed, and Taco Gaming's bot lane have no answer. Hook goes wide, and they are at the mercy of this Ezreal Karma bot lane.
Yeah, right now it is Wixie and Big getting the upper hand right in terms of the trades at least. Rovex finally lands a hook, but it will be arcane shifted away from the depth charge, lands onto Big. They will try to get the 1 trade back as Gorka finally gets some sort of cash in, but Wixie does so much damage in with the Mystic shots and the Triforce completed. And there's Gryffinn taking down Citybuddy under the turret in a 1v1 just because.
Yeah, just because. Why not? I don't have the answer. I don't have the explanation. But it is Gryffinn using this early game Volibear to its full priority. Dark Seal very based from Gryffinn in the jungle, getting that extra little bit of damage coming through from those kills that he's picking up. And going to be getting a lot of plates in the bot lane for Wixie, denying experience from Gorica, denying gold from the Draven, and accelerating the Ezreal to a point where there's nobody that can kill him, right? The way that Wixie dies this game is getting knocked up by Malphite, well, he's got Arcane Shift for that, or taking brutal rockets from Shochi. So there's a lot of pressure on the Taco Gaming mid lane, and needs to step up and continue to be this powerful force as he gets caught in the mid lane.
Oh! Well.
Dedge.
Dedge indeed. Oh, look at the little dog paws just like sticking up. That's so sad.
It's kind of the state of the game here for Taco Gaming, right? This is the issue of getting a Zoe ahead. And another benefit of taking the mid tier 1 so early in a Zoe lane is it opens her up to so much more of Summoner's Rift, a champion that scales off of the amount of terrain she has available to her. And obviously, when that mid tier 1 turret goes down, she can start to go for picks through long portions of the map, be it through.
We talked about the Gorka Ashe ult percentage right now. What is the Qualifier bubble percentage right now? I feel like it's very, very high. I'd have to get. He gets it too. The man can't miss. He's on fire.
Sorry, keep going.
Bang from way downtown. I mean, that's what Qualifier is seemingly doing on this pick right now, which is something that
Stop
we've
it!
seen out of him
No,
all
Lawrence!
the time. I don't know how this turns out. Lawrence is gonna have to try to run away. Wixie with a whole lot of damage, weaving those autos and the Mystic shots really, really nicely. And now Gryffinn is here to just finish the job. Gonna flash the follow up. There's the Sky Splitter. It's looking.
Why did he cancel his recall? He was out. He had the shield. He was fine. He was chilling.
Oh man, he thinks his Frozen Heart's like, I could 1v1 this on a higher level. Turns out you can't. Yeah, it's not something you could do at this point.
Can they 1v3 Viper though? No. Okay. Oh, bubble from
Another
downtown.
Hit. Yeah, another hit. There comes the Sleep City Woody. Gets chunked to 40% HP, if that. Now the rest of the team going to try to collapse Viper and Dig on the way.
The next bubble.
Gorka gets slowed up a little bit here by the Boomerang. There comes the Exhaust. Will get cleansed away from Rovex in a bad spot. Going to use that depth charge to try and slow down the pressure that No Ord is providing. But it's a double kill for Viper as he just dashes under the tower and lands the final boulder for the triple. It is 19-6 Taco Gaming. It looks like No Ord have finally gotten their foot into the door once again at Proving Grounds.
Yeah, they've got their foot in and they're trying to break down the whole darn house here, Grapes. This is an absolute stomping game, number 3. 10k gold to the good, 16 minutes into the game. This is a replay of that bot lane fight. Another bubble hit by Qualifier. Shocks absolutely nobody here and manages to start off this exchange. City Widdy now completely out of this fight. And Gorica trying to do his best. Cleanse away is great, but as soon as that Zoe goes forward, Rovex baited in. Portal jump takes him out to safety. Viper dives in under the turret, manages to finish off the job, and then to add insult to injury, walks back, says, I'll take the triple kill. Thank you very much. Launches a quick boulder into the face of the Fisherman, and I really have to credit Big T here. He's been baiting in this Nautilus time and time again, and, you know, using these Karma Shields really just kind of graciously to elevate his team into these team fights, escort them in, escort them out, make sure they're alive, make sure that the enemy team are, of course, getting the worst end of this Zoe Paddle Star.
It's looked really good for No Org ever since that, of course, faltering pretty, you know, significantly in game number 1 to Taco Gaming, but it's been all gas, no breaks since then, and honestly, could make up for a pretty scary matchup against 100 Thieves next. That's the real test right there, right? It's like the Titans of this year versus the champions of last year. Who's gonna end up on top? But first, No Org have to get through this game, and they're gonna do so here. With Gryffinn just being such a menace. The True Shot Barrage does so much damage as well.
You know, and right, it may not deal like lethal damage, but it's still just absolutely terrifying when you see True Shot Barrage hit on 3 people at once. Regardless of the damage it deals, it's always some good dopamine.
Qualifier just run in circles around City Widdy at this point. We're not talking super. It seems like we're maybe not as excited about every kill, but it just seems like the game has really broken open to a level that we have not seen so far in this series. Less than 20 minutes in, No Org already breaking open that bottom lane inhibitor.
Yeah, and this game largely over at this point. It's going to take a small miracle for Taco Gaming to come back into this game. Once again, right, those issues that we had in game number 2 about their ability to take down tanks with consistent DPS is going to be very, very fearful, not only because Gryffinn is very far ahead of the curve and we've got 2 lethality builders, but also because they're just going to die before they even get anywhere near these carries.
Rovek's supposed to engage. How can he engage if he just gets one shot from 5 screens away? It's incredible.
Yep.
7 towers to 0, 12,000 gold lead at 19 minutes. This might be the most dominant game that we've seen today out of all the 6 that we've had on this stream, and it's just looking so good for No Org right now.
It's a weird one, right? Because this is a best of 3, and we've gone to 3 games, but none of these games have been particularly close. Yeah. It's just kind of been one team finds the lead and goes, oh, okay, I guess you will win this game. We'll try again for the next one. And we kind of have to go through this cordial 15-minute period where one team closes out on the other. Now, credit to No Org here. They have sort of set themselves a little bit of a challenge. They've done the unenviable task of taking an inhibitor pre-20 minutes. So we'll have to see how much they can get out of that and if they can continue to, you know, just get gold from this game as opposed to having funneled in an entire wave of minions into Taco Gaming that they themselves aren't going to be able to farm, aren't going to be able to collect on. Fortunately enough, they took it with just about enough time so that they can back to base, reset, get their gold, spend it, and then go back out onto the map, set up for this Baron, which is going to make them ending the game even easier. You can see complete control over this top side jungle of Taco Gaming. They're fearful for face checking. Gorika's fearful for his life. He's just taken 7 HP. He's just died. Wonderful.
You just
5 screens away.
He literally can't do anything to try to fight back. That's just the composition that No Org has at this point. We'll see how much damage this does. Full take Malphite, half his HP bar, and it might be more as Viper just continues to land in the hyper procs. It's
another one.
Really, really scary. Here comes another Paddle Star. We'll get flashed away from, but here comes Big. Will he get the Inner Flame? No, not just yet. So, looks like No Org's playing with their food a little bit here.
This is fish in a barrel.
This is a nice. That's the nicest way we can kind of phrase it.
He missed a bubble. Somebody alert the authorities. Qualifier has missed a bubble.
Baron started up. Whirling Death coming through. No steal again. We thought it might have happened a little bit. Another bubble connects. Shochi gonna teleport right into his grave. 5 fire on a rampage. 5-1 and 5. I don't know.
I'm in pain. I don't want like. This is okay. So to preface this is really good League of Legends play. No Org are doing very well, but this just pains me to watch. I'm sat here and I'm thinking, how would I feel if I was Taco Gaming? They're not playing League of Legends. They're playing Farming Simulator and occasion Pain of Death.
I mean, are they even farming? Like at this point, like they literally can't even get close to the waves, as the second inhibitor of the game is about to go down to the likes of the No Org Soul Laners. Seems like pretty textbook closing out to this game number 3, as they'll go with the second and then the third inhibitor off of this first Baron push. Now Gryffinn looking to go for another aggressive play. Can face tank basically as much as he wants because he really is in no sort of fear of dying. Viper's going to jump forward, look to use that ulti onto multiple members. Not just yet. And now Taco Gaming maybe trying to find some sort of respite here, but Wixie is still left untouched. Now Godlike on the Ezreal, raining in those Mystic shots like it's nobody's business, shifting forward into 4 members of Taco Gaming. And No Org is back, baby. They are looking to break open the base and win their first series of 2022. Lawrence looking for some sort of escape from the utter artillery that is being rained down upon them. And that is another Paddle Star. That is a legendary Ezreal package coming out from Shochi. Is it enough to even get a single kill? Probably not. There comes the exhaust. That's Viper picking up what might be the last kill of this game, unless No Org want to get just a little bit more favorable with the KDA padding. Wixie again with another kill. And now it's a double kill. Nexus exposed. This is an absolute smattering by No Org as they take this game 2-1 over Taco Gaming. They're going to be matching up against 100 Thieves next week.
We need to report No Org for that last 2 minutes, just based purely onto cyberbullying. That was absolutely brutal. They took the Baron and they were just launching bullets. They were just stones essentially at a defenseless team of 5 people that were just sitting there having to absorb this. Ow, dying time and time again. There was simply no response. There's nothing they could do. The Zoe was too far ahead. The Ezreal had just apparently the freest laning phase against the Draven because of all of the early game shenanigans that happened, where we didn't see any support bot lane from about 4 minutes onwards. So Ezreal was just quite happy, going, "Oh, I'll queue minions. That's no big deal to me." And then all of a sudden, those skirmishes that went well, they went well for No Org. No Org snowballed the game. They found themselves the Baron. They found themselves the game. Ta-da!
That's pretty stock standard League of Legends play. Very similar to what we saw of 100 Thieves next in the last game that they had against Large. And for Taco Gaming, I mean, they had some really good flashes. Of course, game number 1 looked really, really well for them. And they have a couple of things to take a look at and maybe try to change, as they are going to look for maybe another matchup against either No Org or 100 Thieves next if they end up falling. But first have to, of course, get through Large down in the lower bracket. Still a lot of questions about this group. I think that this has created more questions than we might have originally begun with at this point just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, the questions have been asked. Not necessarily too many have been answered either. Fortunately enough, I believe at least myself, the caster predictions are intact for today, which is something that I've not been able to say. I got my 3-0 for the day.
There we go. Look at that.
Yeah, game 1 had me sweating. I won't lie. But then, I mean, No Org, as if there was ever any doubt, they did come back. They did give me the 3-0 dopamine that I was looking for.
Also confirms that Twitter is just, I guess, not as good at the prediction.
Twitter
of course,
analysts.
you can't. Travesty got Taco, but you can't rule him out. He was the one who was predicting Fear all the way through, ended up getting it all the way to the finals. So Travesty's more of a scaling predictor here when it comes to that. But that's gonna do it for us here on the Caster Decks. Rudy, thank you so much for covering these games alongside me. We're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking to Gryffinn about how he ended up getting that win. Alright, welcome back everybody, here with a quick interview with Gryffinn, jungler for No Org, not No Team this time around. Gryffinn, it's been a while since we've seen you here on the Proving Ground stage. You took the last tournament off. What made you decide to get back into the swing of things here?
Well, basically, I don't know. I took off for a split because I was like, okay, I'm gonna play solo queue and shit. Oh wait, sorry. And I was just gonna play solo queue, but then I got solo queue sucks, and then my friends were telling me, oh, you should have played the split. You made a bad decision, etc., etc. So when the opportunity arose, and that it's announced already, so TSM Academy was looking for a jungler. The opportunity arose. A few teams contacted me, and then the opportunity arose, and I joined No Org.
And yeah, I mean, it seems like it's been a pretty smooth transition so far, after that first series. Maybe the first game, maybe not as much, but we don't gotta talk about that. We got just the clean games after that. But I gotta ask you about what it's been like playing with this group of really experienced, really talented players. Of course, when you're on No Team last time around, you were with maybe not like younger players, but players that haven't had that academy level of experience. But what's it like, playing with the likes of Qualifier, Viper, players with a ton of experience in both amateur and beyond?
Yeah, so I've only been scrimming, we had one set of scrims, so we played 3-ish games. I already knew all of them, I already knew Viper, Qualifier, Wixie. Actually, I didn't know Big, so I already knew they were all really good and really talented players. That's why I wanted to join in the first place. I think Viper, obviously, okay, all of them are just fucking good, right? So,
yeah.
Hey, they all have their rep and repertoire. Big, I didn't know much about. So he was someone I didn't really know much about, but from playing with him, I can already tell this guy's a beast. So I think this team's really good. Obviously No Org is 3/5 of No Org's roster from last year, and I could definitely tell why they won Proving Grounds. They're really good and all talented individually. And yeah, the first game, I caught into. That was a free win. We should have just 2-0'd, but I was feeling a little it was just a warm-up game, so I was feeling a little bad for that team. They couldn't get 2-0'd. That just defeat their morale. So as long as they won, they win one game. That's pretty good.
Yeah, just the warm-up game. You got to play the new champion, Belveth. Maybe you gotta get a couple of early kills, get a couple of early deaths. Limit testing here and there, but it seemed to all work out at the end. And you got your next matchup in a week against 100 Thieves next. You got this really spicy matchup up on the top side. You're talking about how you have a lot of experience playing with Viper now, and now up against Sniper, his own brother, somebody who I think also you have played a lot of solo queue, I assume, with as well. What are your thoughts about that? Who's the better brother here?
I mean, obviously Viper and Sniper are both really, really talented, and obviously Sniper the younger brother, Viper. You know what they say? Oh, the master becomes the student, or oh no, the student becomes the master. Nah, bro, Viper is gonna send it back to first grade. He's gonna fucking whoop it. We're gonna 3-0, we're gonna stop all lanes, bro. Viper is just a superior, bro. He's sending him back to first grade. Whatever they say about the student becomes back, get that out of here. It's gonna be a quick 2-0, easy.
Are you not the same age as Sniper? Are you calling both of you? If he's first grade, what are you? I mean, that's.
Yeah, I mean I am, but I'm older than him by 2 months, so I'm actually
so he's
built different.
He's just way too young to be playing.
Okay.
For sure.
But yeah, they're both really good. It's actually gonna be really I can imagine having a brother that's also challenger and shit. Or not, okay, sorry. Having a brother challenger and playing against him in playing against him at League of Legends, playing against him. So I'm sure that's gonna be really spicy, and that's gonna be a lot of bragging rights. They're obviously both really good, so it's gonna be really, really fun, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see that matchup. I think it's gonna be a whole lot of really crazy back and forth gameplay. But you got all the trash talk kind of out of the way. I don't know if there's anything you want to say before we wrap the show up, but the floor's all yours, man.
No, we're chilling. No, I just wanted to say, thanks for like the opportunity from the org and like their manager and like players, you know. And I wanted to say, since last interview, you know what I'm saying, like we had an interview, we were talking about some, you know, some females and shit, or females. Let's just say
How's that been going? How's it been going?
it's been going good. I got this one
Okay.
person I really like talking to. Oh, actually, it was kind of awkward because I didn't know the sidewalk rule. Like apparently you're supposed to go on the outside, and when we got ice cream, the ice cream was $12. I only had $10, so that was kind of awkward. And
Did you
my
made
sister,
her pay?
no, I mean I made her pay $2. She gave me a 10. She was like, "Oh, you can keep the change." I think she thought I was broke. Bro, do you not know who I? Anyways, and my sister told me to open the car door for her, and I didn't. I didn't know because we were on the back seat because my sister was driving. I feel like that'd be awkward. But anyway, it's chill. Like it's been going good.
I'm glad the endeavors are going well for you, Gryffinn, and in both the romantic side of things as well as the League of Legends side of things. Looking forward to you guys competing the rest of the way and hoping for more interviews in the future. So thank you very much, man.
Bye.
All right, we're gonna head back over to the desk where veteran is, I think, a little distraught about what I'm sorry to Unified for all the fines that might have to come through there, but that's just what the price to pay when you're interviewing the Gryffinn. You get bangers like that.
Yeah, that's why you don't have a. That's why you don't have a 15-year-old on stream, man. Like, no one vetted this guy. No one told him that he couldn't swear. You just let a psychopath go on a rant. It's this little Joker moment on stream, uninterrupted. Like, that was crazy, man.
I would like to thank the production and staff for all their hard work, and I'm sure all necessary precautions were taken.
Shout out Tone on the production, everybody else as well, all the observing crew. But yeah, I mean, Gryffinn, a bit wild in the interview, but a bit wild on the Rift as well, I would say. Big games coming out from him, big games coming out from the rest of No Org in Con as they look a lot more like their 2021 selves.
Apparently wild at the ice cream place, too. Can't afford it. That's like girl pay. Kind of cringe.
I was going to say, $6 for ice cream is a lot of money. I don't know where Gryffinn's getting his ice cream at, but maybe not the best place. I don't know. Maybe you got to reconsider that next time.
Maybe if you're broke. Maybe we should get his money up and not his funny up.
All right. We're gonna. Do we have any replays for this game, or are we just?
Hit the replays.
Let's hit the replay. Veteran, break us down. Break down what happened. It seemed pretty No Org dominated throughout the entire game.
Yeah, it generally happened the whole game. That also happened in the current replay coming up. Some League of Legends actually finally. So Big T comes over here. You know, he gets the bone plating out on Nautilus. He gets hit. He gets his bone plating triggered. He flashes out. He runs away, but. You know, Gryffinn, he doesn't run away. He moves straight in, you know. He wants to get the money. He doesn't want to, you know, be in the same situation he was just describing ever again. They all flash out City Witty, you know. And, yeah, overall, this bit, you know, it went good for them. But they made midsection plays again. This is what happened in the last game. This is what wasn't happening in the game beforehand. And they're making it around Firefire on a heavy carry champion. So it's definitely a champion that Firefire is going to be able to do some serious damage and have serious threat on. You have to acknowledge her even if she's not on your screen. She's going to delete you from 2 screens away. So having that level of priority on him and utilizing the Karma for priority on bot to shift towards mid over and over again was a really good strategy by them. You'd normally expect it to be like a Rakan, like a Nautilus, like a Leona, but step 1 is make sure bot is pushing so you have priority back first, and then step 2 is roam. Karma guarantees a step 1 no matter what, right? No matter how it goes there. While Nautilus is doing that, Draven's having a very difficult time on bot, and Ezreal's having the easiest time of his life. So it's actually really good overall by them, and I'm glad that they continue with this, and I hope this is the new org that we see for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and as we get into this next replay in Con, it seems like it's a lot of the same No Org that we saw in 2021 as well, with their top lane focus, really just making sure that they send as much resources up there. Viper had a fantastic game alongside Firefire on the Zoe.
Yeah, so really good point there, and really segues smoothly into this clip where we're going to go straight into the bot lane play.
Oh, my bad.
where Wixie's able to get Bio on the wave here on a bounce back, and Big T's able to hit the Draven here. What ends up happening is
there we go.
Big T just goes for the kill on Gorka, kills the Draven. City Witty gets mind controlled. He's angry. He's not having it. He's just pissed off. He's losing his mind. He's forward. Uh-oh, dies. All right, game's over. And then Rovax goes for the trade. All right, you can just fast forward from here. I believe it goes top here.
Yeah, I saw in our little
Yeah.
discussion channel that you said ends at Malphite dying, and so I assumed that you were talking about the top
Oh.
side. But either way,
Any other patch, Nor is just dead. By the way, I'm just saying.
Lawrence is also just pissed off. Goes for the flash play. He's Zoom, can't do anything. Viper lives. Then Lawrence gets mind controlled. If he actually goes over there, then he lives, but he brings the Zoe into play with the way he went. So, a little bit of mechanical misplay on the red plant, and then game's over at this point. So, I believe this leads to a 2.5k gold lead for No Org,
Yeah.
and then they just kind of gulag the rest of the game. And Taco Gaming, they were already losing their minds, and then, they just kind of funneled into losing, and No Org takes the game from there. And I hate to bring this up because I know I'm talk to the people on Taco Gaming, but this is the second time now that Rovex, City Witty, and Nova have been one game away from winning a series, and then losing
come on,
the
man.
series in a reverse sweep. So really unfortunate for them. We'll have to see what they can do the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, that is true. Speaking of, we got Maryville coming up tomorrow against Supernova. It's gonna be a fun series here on Academy. Make sure to check that one out.
I believe I'm on that one as well.
But yeah, overall, pretty fun set of games, I would say, Veteran. And I think this just goes to show how competitive this second tournament is going to be, especially with all those proving ground spots on the line.
So definitely, like, when it comes to the first games of any tournament, teams are feeling each other out. Teams are understanding what they are actually comfortable with playing on stage. They're also, well, not so much in these last two games, generally getting used to the fact that stage games aren't 20 kills by 10 minutes, though No Org are yet to get used to that reality. But a lot of shifts will generally happen from the first games. There'll still be some upsets from here on out, but teams will generally get to their final form after a couple of series. But yeah, these are the exciting times where anyone could take on anyone, and going for a 2-0, like Incon says, is just delusion.
And as we alluded to... Yeah, go ahead.
What'd you predict the series at, Veteran, again? And what was your exact phrasing of what the series
I predicted
was
this one as
right now.
2-0 because Qualifier will just stomp all over them, and particularly in the solo lane department, which definitely happened for the last two games. The first game, they didn't even draft for that, which is... I still don't know what... Well, I can kind of guess what happened, because Callista's one of those champions when scrims, when games are like 20 kills at 10 minutes, and it's just constant skirmishing early, she'll actually have very significant advantages. So this is an example of one of those times where you have to, like, slap the scrims out of them, and then just get fire on his carry, stop trying to go for these early skirmishes. Hopefully, again, the Noah we saw the last two games is the ones that we'll always see. But yeah.
I think what we're hearing here is that me and Incon are just the prediction goats right now.
Oh yeah, of
course.
2-1,
right?
Of course, 100%. I mean, Grapes, I'll always defer to you on your expertise, no matter what.
This guy's probably watched more League of Legends in the past week than I have in my entire life.
That is fair, but
Grapes is simulating the rest of the tournament right now. That's what you understand.
The Rain Man right now trying to see what's in the heart of the cards.
Speaking of looking ahead into the future just a little bit, let's take a look at the games that we have tomorrow here on both Academy and Path to LCS. We got some pretty exciting matchups once more. We got EGP against DK Crew, followed by Maryville Supernova over on Academy. And over on Path to LCS, we have the Cincinnati Fear taking on the AoE Randoms, followed by Area of Effect Ginger Turmeric against CLG Faith. A lot of close matchups here. I'm really excited about this Academy set. I think there's a lot of really strong teams that can really, make some waves as we head over into the playoffs. But guys, that's going to do it for us here on the show. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for kind of tuning on alongside with us. Incon has been great getting all the memes, all the analysis as well here on the desk. I mean, do you have any last words before we close the show?
Yeah, hopefully for No Org's opponent's sake, they just watched them, commit illegal acts and felonious murder against Taco Gaming 2 straight games. Hopefully teams can now get a feel for what they bring to the table and better prepare against them so it won't be as one-sided. And from that, I just want to shout out my MSU homies. Peyton, love you. Leona, love you. And yeah, I hope people continue watching Academy again on tomorrow and Path to LCS. And please support amateur players. They deserve it. They put in a lot of time for free. And I hope that one day they can change, and it can only change with your viewership. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to cap the show off for today. Thank you very much to you, Incon. Thank you, Veteran, for staying up all late with us to kind of watch some more NA League of Legends this time around.
Anytime.
Thank you again as well to our sponsors who have helped us along all the way through. Thank you again to Atlantic HyperX and BenQ Zowie for their continued support here with us at Unified. With that, going to be saying so long for now, and we'll see you all tomorrow for some more Proving Grounds. See ya.